Imagine a career so vast, so unpredictable, and so fearless that every decade brings a completely new version of the same actor. Now imagine that actor showing up in everything from underground art films to blockbuster hits. From Madonna's wild music videos to haunting roles in horror games. Always unforgettable, always intense, always magnetic. That actor was Udo Kier, the German cult icon whose piercing stare and unmistakable presence made him one of cinema's most distinctive faces. Today, we look back on his extraordinary journey, following the news of his passing at age 81. His partner confirmed that Kier died peacefully in Palm Springs, leaving behind a legacy that stretches across more than 270 roles. And while his passing has left film lovers around the world in shock, his life story remains one of the most fascinating, improbable, and inspiring tales in movie history. So let's explore how a boy born during a bombing raid grew into one of the most recognizable and versatile actors to ever grace a screen. Udo Kier's story starts in Cologne, Germany, under circumstances dramatic enough to belong in one of his films. Hours after he was born, the hospital was bombed, and he had to be rescued from the rubble with his mother. Growing up in post-war Germany was harsh, and Kier himself said his childhood was difficult, marked by poverty and a fractured family. His father was already married with children when Kier was born, a truth his mother didn't know at the time. Without hot water until he was 17 and working factory jobs as a teen, Kier's early life offered him little glamour and even fewer opportunities. Yet even in those rough years, a spark of curiosity and ambition pushed him forward. At 16, he formed a friendship with a young Rainer Werner Fassbinder in a working-class bar, not knowing that both would later become major artistic forces. Eventually, Kier left Germany for London, hoping to learn English and change his life. But what awaited him there wasn't just a new language. It was the beginning of a career shaped by the strangest twists of fate. One of those twists happened in the most unexpected setting, a coffee shop. Kier was discovered there, his striking look immediately catching attention. As he later said, he simply liked the attention and decided to become an actor. That decision led to his breakout role in the 1970 horror film Mark of the Devil, which established him as a bold new face in European cinema. But destiny had bigger plans. On a flight, Kier randomly found himself seated next to Paul Morrissey, the director working closely with Andy Warhol. That chance encounter would define the next major chapter of his career. Morrissey cast him as Frankenstein in the outrageous and unforgettable Flesh for Frankenstein, followed soon after by his iconic role as Dracula in Blood for Dracula. These two films made Kier a cult sensation almost overnight, celebrated for performances that were strange, seductive, and completely unlike anyone else. And it was this boldness, this willingness to dive into roles others might avoid, that gave Kier his unique place in cinema. As his fame grew, he reunited with Fassbinder, creating a series of projects that pushed him even further. Working with Fassbinder, Kier became part of some of the most influential European films of the era. From Lily Marlene to The Station Master's Wife, he brought a distinctive edge to every role, appearing in films that explored politics, identity, and shifting cultural landscapes. He also appeared in the legendary miniseries Berlin Alexanderplatz, further solidifying his status as a powerful, unconventional performer. But Kier wasn't limited to Europe. His career soon expanded across the Atlantic. At the Berlin Film Festival, he met Gus Van Sant, who admired Kier's earlier work in the Warhol films. Van Sant helped secure Kier an American work permit and a SAG card, opening the door to Hollywood. Kier's first major U.S. appearance came in My Own Private Idaho, where he acted alongside Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix. This role introduced him to a whole new generation of moviegoers, especially those drawn to queer cinema and independent film. His intense screen presence, elegant eccentricity, and fearlessness made him instantly memorable. And while Hollywood often cast him in small roles, Kier always ensured those roles stayed in the audience's mind long after the credits rolled. Those roles included some of the most talked-about performances in big 90s films. Whether he was appearing in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, Blade, Johnny Mnemonic, or Armageddon, Kier had a knack for making even the shortest scenes unforgettable. He once joked that if you're going to play a small part, it's better to be evil than to be the random mailman nobody remembers. That philosophy defined much of his Hollywood presence: mysterious, menacing, and always fascinating. Around the same time, Kier caught the attention of Madonna, who cast him in her controversial book Sex, and later featured him in her music videos for Erotica and Deeper and Deeper. This cemented his status not just as a film icon, but as a cultural figure who moved effortlessly between mainstream and underground worlds. His ability to reinvent himself, sometimes elegant, sometimes bizarre, always intriguing, was unmatched. And while many actors fade into the background with age, Kier only grew more beloved by film fans, who appreciated his fearless approach to performance and his refusal to ever become predictable. Another major artistic partnership defined Kier's legacy: his long collaboration with Danish filmmaker Lars von Trier. Their relationship began in the late 1980s, and Kier went on to appear in several of von Trier's major works, from Epidemic and Europa to Breaking the Waves, Dancer in the Dark, Dogville, Melancholia, and Nymphomaniac Volume 2. He became part of some of the most daring and controversial films of modern cinema. Kier was even godfather to von Trier's son, showing how deeply their connection went beyond the screen. Together, they built characters that were haunting, unsettling, and emotionally layered, pushing the boundaries of storytelling. Kier wasn't afraid of darkness or discomfort. He leaned into it, understanding how fear, tension, and vulnerability create unforgettable cinema. This willingness made him a favorite among visionary filmmakers, the kind who needed actors brave enough to explore unsettling psychological territory. Kier once described his career as a mix of luck and instinct, but talent played a far bigger role. Whenever a director needed someone who could be charming and terrifying all at once, Kier was the person they called. As he moved into the 2000s and beyond, Kier continued choosing roles that surprised audiences. He appeared in S. Craig Zahler's gritty, uncompromising films like Brawl in Cell Block 99 and Dragged Across Concrete, proving he could still bring intensity and depth to darker stories. At the same time, he took on projects that showcased his softer, more emotional side. One standout was the 2022 film Swan Song, where he played a flamboyant former hairdresser on a bittersweet journey of self-rediscovery. Critics praised him for bringing warmth, elegance, and vulnerability to the role, revealing layers of humanity beneath his iconic intensity. It was a reminder that the man known for sinister villains and gothic oddities could also deliver performances filled with humor and tenderness. Even late in his career, he showed no signs of slowing down, continuing to embrace characters that challenged him and surprised audiences. Whether he was starring in art films, thrillers, comedies, or even voice acting in video games, Kier kept reinventing himself, refusing to let age limit his creativity. His final film, The Secret Agent, earned international attention after being featured at the 2025 Cannes Film Festival. Kier played a Jewish Holocaust survivor trapped within the political turmoil of Brazil's military dictatorship, a role that demanded sensitivity, emotional nuance, and historical awareness. His performance added weight to the film, helping lead actor Wagner Moura win Best Actor at Cannes. Kier also continued expanding into new territory with the upcoming horror video game OD, a collaboration between Hideo Kojima and Jordan Peele. Even in his 80s, he was engaging with fresh forms of storytelling, signaling once again that he was never just an actor, he was a creative force. Throughout his life, Kier lived between Los Angeles and Palm Springs, where he curated a home filled with art, architecture, and objects that reflected his bold personal style. Fans often spotted him at the Palm Springs Film Festival, where he greeted admirers with warmth and humor. Despite often playing villains, he was known personally for his charm, wit, and genuine kindness. When news of his passing broke, Tributes poured in from filmmakers, actors, fans, and film critics across the world. Many highlighted not only his legendary roles, but also his generosity and eccentric humor off-screen. Kier had once summed up his filmography by saying that out of his many dozens of films, 100 were bad, 50 were fine with a glass of wine, and 50 were truly good. It was a comment that perfectly captured his self-aware, mischievous personality and his refusal to take himself too seriously. But the truth is that even his strangest or campiest roles carried a kind of brilliance that only he could provide. Even in the smallest roles, he elevated films with his presence alone. And that's why he was not just a character actor. He was the character actor. Someone whose very name meant audiences were about to see something fascinating. His death marks the end of an era. But his films continue to introduce new fans to his work every day. Looking back, perhaps what made Kier so captivating was his ability to balance contradictions. He could be both terrifying and hilarious, elegant and grotesque, refined and chaotic. He embraced camp without ever mocking it, and embraced horror without losing empathy. His entire career was built on instinct. Whether he was acting in experimental European films or major Hollywood blockbusters, he followed what interested him, rather than what would make him conventional. That authenticity has inspired countless actors who refuse to fit into neat categories. Kier proved that a career doesn't have to follow one path. It can zigzag, collide, and reshape itself endlessly. His story is also a reminder that chance encounters can change everything. A flight, a coffee shop, a festival meeting. Each one led him to roles that defined generations of cinema. And through all of it, he remained dedicated to the craft, working tirelessly for over 60 years. Even into his final decade, he was taking risks, signing new projects, and stepping into unexpected roles that younger actors might hesitate to attempt. As we reflect on Udo Kier's life, it becomes clear that he was more than just an actor. He was a living piece of cinema history. Few performers have crossed so many genres, countries, styles, and eras while maintaining a distinctive identity. Whether he was playing a campy vampire, a twisted villain, a mysterious stranger, or an aging artist finding his voice again, he did it with complete commitment. And that commitment earned him fans ranging from art house purists to mainstream movie lovers. Kier's legacy is a mosaic of unforgettable moments. The wild theatrics of Flesh for Frankenstein, the hypnotic melancholy of Melancholia, the quiet heartbreak of Swansong, and the chaotic energy of his many cult classics. His story reminds us that cinema is at its best when it embraces the strange, the daring, and the extraordinary. And Kier embodied all three. Even though he is no longer with us, his performances continue to ripple across screens, festivals, and streaming platforms, captivating anyone willing to dive into his vast and unpredictable filmography. So, as we come to the end of this tribute, it's worth remembering that Udo Kier lived the kind of artistic life most actors only dream of: bold, experimental, and completely unfiltered. He built a career not by chasing fame or fitting into Hollywood expectations, but by saying yes to the bizarre, the intense, and the emotionally raw, and audiences loved him for it. His passing leaves a space in cinema that no one else can fill, because Kier was truly one of a kind. But his legacy lives on in the films he left behind, the filmmakers he inspired, and the countless viewers who discovered strange new corners of cinema through him. Whether you first encountered him in a cult classic, a blockbuster, an art house drama, or even a music video, chances are you never forgot him. And that is the mark of a truly great performer. So here's to Udo Kier, an icon, a rebel, a legend whose work will continue to haunt, fascinate, and inspire for generations to come.